Anyhow, cheers. My friend Kayleigh here. This is actually take 2 for us.
That's okay.
We did this before, and we did this at a different venue, and I'm super bummed that we had so much background noise because we had a great interview.
Yeah, we did.
We did. This is why we had a great interview. We started drinking, and things were funny.
Yeah, it was a good
We had a great time talking, and this is going to be great too. But this is our second take of this, and it's going to be fantastic because we're at Peacock Wine Bar, and I have this great venue, and it's super quiet, and so yeah. Anyhow, cheers.
Cheers.
Little drink.
Yep.
Just to get us started on our conversation.
Yes.
I did not bring any of my notes, so I'm just going to be winging it. We're just going to be chit-chatting.
I like it. I think we're good at chit-chatting.
Yeah, we're good. Kayleigh and I are both talkers. So we've already, before this even started, probably talked for, about 40 minutes?
So, yeah.
About our lives and dating and all the fun that we've really had with that.
Yeah. Interesting.
Some we want to share, some we maybe don't.
Yeah. Some details might be left unsaid.
Left unsaid. Or maybe after another drink they'll be said.
Right?
We really aren't sure what's going to happen here. So as we're both single gals, and we have talked in the past about dating.
Yes.
She is way more brave right now than I am. I've kind of put the brakes a little bit on my dating to work on my project, but Kayleigh is still very active in the world of dating. She's brave.
Yeah,
she's braving it out there, people.
It's been very interesting.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about just how often do you actually go out? Like, how often do you actually go out and date right now?
Since the whole COVID thing, it's been, I think, more tough to actually go out and date.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys I've talked to online and whatnot, they're just like, oh yeah, let's meet up. I'm like, okay, cool. When do you want to meet up? And then it's just silence. I'm like, so is this you ghosting me? Because if you're ghosting me, that's totally cool. If you're not interested, you're not interested. But it's been yeah, let's meet up. And then the day up, I'm like, hey, are we still on for whatnot? And then they're like, nothing, or oh no, sorry, came up. And I'm like, all right, well, just let me know when you're available, and then that's it.
That always irritated me because that used to happen to me.
Yeah.
And I never understood that. Why would you say that you want to? Don't say you want to meet somebody. Just say, or if you're not sure what to say, I don't know. What can you say that's
there's so many good excuses.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, something came up, can't come.
Don't say you want to meet me and then wait till day of or day before and then be like, ooh, I can't. Something came up. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of disrespectful. The continuing conversation I seem to have in dating is this almost, I don't want to say immaturity, but this not understanding how to communicate with people very well.
Yeah, and the follow through, a lot
of no follow through.
Yeah, and I'm just all right, will we set time up or date or whatnot? And in the morning, hey, are we still on? And they're like, oh yeah, and then it's an hour before, nothing. I'm like, hey, because I'm not going to go to the restaurant or the bar without confirmation.
I'll just meet you there, I guess.
Yeah, without confirmation that's happening.
Hopefully you'll be there.
Right. I feel I'm pretty laid back where something comes up, okay, yeah, we can reschedule, and at that point, it's up to you to figure out.
Right. If you're the one who cuts the date or cancels the date, then you should reschedule, right?
Yeah,
don't you
absolutely.
think? Because otherwise you don't know really if somebody really actually wants to go out or if they're just being flaky or
trying to be nice by saying I don't want to meet up with you.
Yeah. That's strange. That part is hard because I think people do start talking and maybe they just get caught it's happened to me where they're like, you want to go out? And I'm like, ooh, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, it's you exchange 2 messages hey, let's go meet for dinner. I'm all, whoa.
Hold on.
Let's pump the brakes here real quick. Not that I'm afraid of commitment, but
but if you're just not really sure where it's going or how the conversation's going to flow.
Yeah, or we've exchanged 2 literally messages back and forth hey, how's it going? Hey, good, how are you? Let's meet up for dinner. It's I want to get to know you a little bit before. I'm not saying we need to text or message for weeks on end.
Because then that gets weird too.
Yeah, because then you become a pen pal and you're I didn't send him for a pen pal.
Yeah.
But that immediate, it's a little I
need a day or two to feel out the situation, feel out the conversation, feel out the communication, see if this is somebody that I can jive with in a date scenario.
Yeah.
Because that's important. You have to be able to like talk to somebody, and if they're giving you like 1 or 2 word answers, and you're like, well, they're cute, but
how are we gonna hold the conversation?
Are we gonna? If I have to carry this whole conversation on my back the whole time,
right? And that's the worst, because that happens a lot too. Like I've noticed in the conversations, like I'll be like, hey, I always make sure I leave some kind of like question at the end or something for them to respond to.
Something open-ended questions are a big deal.
So they can respond. But then when I'm doing all that and they're just getting the one-worded answers, and you're like, okay, well,
I don't know where to go with that.
Yeah, I'm all, okay, great. Like, so what else do you want me to ask? Do you know?
Yeah, that's hard. I have dated guys that do that whole yes, no, and you're like,
so
okay, I'll talk to you later, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Or like emojis thumb up, and you're like,
But then again, I think that's why you do have to talk to people for a couple days, because I've also dated somebody that my initial conversation with him was very bland, and I was like, this guy cannot hold a conversation. And then it just took like a day or two for him to warm up.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, honestly, like I made him continue to be my friend after we weren't dating anymore, because I love talking to him. Like, he's so just like fun to talk to. So I think sometimes it's okay for people to need to warm up a little bit and for you to get to know somebody and figure out where you might have interest. But yeah, I think you need a couple days. I don't know. I need a couple days.
Same here. And I don't want to necessarily meet up for dinner right away, because it's like, how do you even know? Like, what if you meet right away and then all of a sudden there's absolutely nothing, or you get that weird vibe and you're like, ooh, red flag. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just go with your instincts. And yeah. So I usually like coffee or a cocktail. I feel like it's like a perfect first date.
Yeah. See, I know we talked about this before, but that's a big thing for, I think, both of us, is like, I do not like dinner for a first date.
No, I don't either.
So why don't you like dinner for a first date?
So one of the things, like I mentioned before, sometimes you just meet that person, and you either like, no, like, oh yeah, he's cool, or there's sometimes where you're just like, oh, there's something weird. But a lot of it too is because like you're so trying to get to know them that, like, when they're eating, like, and you're talking, you're like, not that I'm worried about the food getting cold, but it's weird.
Yeah,
and then like when they're talking, like, you don't want to be shoveling your face full of food, because you're trying
to pay attention to what they're saying and be attentive.
Yeah, so I just feel like it's kind of awkward, and not awkward, but just kind of.
I think it's a little awkward. I think it's. I feel like it's harder to have a conversation with somebody when you're eating.
Yeah,
I think that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I think on like second, third date, like dinner's great, or if like you go get cocktails, maybe an appetizer, because that you don't really have to like really eat. But yeah, usually like coffee or a drink is.
Yeah, that's enough for me usually. Then you can kind of get an idea of if it's even worth going on a second date.
Yeah, I agree.
We have a mutual friend that always would do dinner for the first date, and her whole thing was, I want them to take me out, which is not my thing. I feel very uncomfortable with that. Do you ever, let's talk about like the whole like who pays for what. So first date, how do you usually handle that?
So I don't expect a guy to pay, but I do, if that makes sense. Like, I don't mind like paying my way, but it's also kind of nice if they pay, if that makes sense. Like, it's kind of more like if they offer to pay, it's just like, oh wow, like, it seems what's the word I'm looking for?
Chivalrous?
Yes. And just like, oh, okay. And usually I'll always reach for my wallet and like offer to pay. And most 99% of the time they're like, oh no, it's okay, got it. And I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. And I always, like, even if I'm not vibing on that level, like I always send them a message later that night, like when I get home, like, thank you again for dinner or drinks or coffee or whatever. But it's just kind of like a weird, like, feel it out. But I had one guy who was complaining about the price of the cocktails, which is like a normal price. It was like $13 for sangria, which
that's how much drink
is. It's a normal, and he picked the place, and he's just like, wow, I don't remember these sangrias being that expensive. I'm all, and I already had like my wallet out.
You're like, oh boy, here we go.
And it was a horrible date too. It was a really bad date, and
so just everything about it just went from bad to worse.
Yeah, and then I was just like, I had my card, and he's just like, focus on the check. And I'm like, and I was expecting these cocktails to be like $15-$20, you know.
Right.
And he's like, wow, like he's making such a big deal. And he had 3.
He's like, I thought they were going to be $4.
Right?
Is there a drink special right now?
Right? Isn't it happy hour? Like, what's happening?
Nope, it's not a happy hour.
I'm like, I had
It's 7 p.m. on a Saturday.
Right?
Definitely no drink specials.
No. And like, I only had 2, which is fine. I don't care how much you have, you know, but he had 3. And I just remember he's just like so focused. And by the time he looks up at me, I had my debit card in my hand. I was like, well, you just want to split it? He's like, oh yeah, well, since you insist. I'm like, and grab, like, literally pull, I should probably do it in my hand, but he literally like rips not rips, but like grabs the card out of my hand. And I'm all, and then the server came back. He's like, hey, do you guys want me to just like split the checks? I'm like, yeah, please do, because I'm not going to pay for half of your sangria when you're being kind of a jerk at this point. You know? Like,
when you're making a big deal about it.
Yeah, and it's like, it said it on the menu. And so then when I got my bill, I was like, $13 for sangria? Really? Like, what's the big deal? I've had some drinks that are like $15, $16.
I was going to say, I feel like when you go out on a date, you have to anticipate that date cost.
Yeah.
You have to anticipate that, you know where you're going ahead of time. It's not like all of a sudden you just walk into some random place and you're like, let's go here. I mean, unless you're like on a walking date and then you're like, let's go in here.
Yeah.
I feel like you should go on a date realizing that there's going to be a cost to that. And that drinks do cost money and there's tip involved. And I mean, just having a drink or two is $25.
Yeah. And like,
at least.
Yeah.
If not 40. Depending on what you're doing and drinking. And I feel like that's just kind of common knowledge. And, you know, most of the people who are my target audience, I think, are probably at least in their 30s and I recognize that that's a thing. So if you're going on a date with somebody over 25 who's been, you have to assume, out on other dates and been on to a bar and been to a restaurant in their life, like, it doesn't make any sense to not anticipate that cost.
Yeah, and I'm not going to order like, oh, the most expensive meal and the most expensive this, you know, and it's just, it was just, I was blown away, but I was like, so, you know, until I got the check, I'm all, $13? That's what you're complaining about? $13?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, and I just let it go. But so it's just kind of like I said, I don't expect
that day did not get a call back.
Oh no. It got worse too.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was a really bad day. And then since I paid my way, I didn't have to worry about texting him and thanking him again, because I feel like that's also important too, because I know if guys do go on a lot of dates and they do pay for things, like, I know it gets expensive, so I want them to know, even if like we don't,
I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like, that means a lot, even though we're not going to go to the next level. Like, I appreciate that. And so since I paid my way and I didn't enjoy the date, I didn't have to worry about texting him. And then 2 days later, he sends me a text, so, hey, I just want to let you know, I usually just don't disappear without saying something, but you definitely were not like on my page. Like, I just need someone who vibes a little bit more. And I'm all, and keep in mind, I met him on eHarmony. This is years ago. So I was on Tinder for a while. And then, you know, they say that you get what you pay for. So I'm like, okay, Tinder's free. All right. So I was like, oh, eHarmony, great. You know, I met more weirdos and terrible dates on eHarmony.
We talked about this. We talked about this last time.
We did.
And I thought it was so strange because I've never been on eHarmony, but I feel like when people go on eHarmony, they anticipate better quality people because it's a paid site. So I've only been on the free ones. I'm cheap. Like, when it comes to dating.
Well, I was too, but they're like, oh, you get what you paid for. So I'm like, all right, well, if I'm getting what I paid for.
I've always met great guys on Tinder.
Yeah, I met more great guys on Tinder than I did eHarmony. And I met him on eHarmony.
Maybe the eHarmony guys, maybe they are anticipating, because they're paying for it, maybe they're anticipating some level of connection right away.
Maybe, but they
does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But they ask you so many in-depth questions about like religion, politics, sex, marriage. Like, it's very, so I'm like, okay, like, it's pretty.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet somebody who's jives with me.
Yeah, and this was completely opposite. You're a narcissistic, not so nice guy. I was like, he was condescending the whole date too.
I probably dated him.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. No, you probably did.
I probably already dated him.
Right? Like, oh,
narcissist? Right up my alley.
Right.
My type of guy. What's his name?
Yeah, right. I don't remember. But,
Sorry. For a narcissist, I'm sure he's blown away by that, but she does not remember your name.
Well, I had a red flag before we went out, but I was giving him the benefit of the doubt, because I'm like, sometimes it's hard to read people via text. And then within 5 minutes of the date, I was like, yeah, no, this is not good.
Your instincts were correct.
Yeah, it was. I should have said bye, but
Yeah.
you know, that's the problem. I tend to give people a benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
90% of the time, it doesn't work.
So did you
out,
respond to his text after that?
Yeah, I did. I just said, likewise, good luck. Because
okay.
at this point, I was kind of.
You were like,
I
it's
was really
done.
put
It's
off.
over.
Like, I was like, you're a jerk. The whole, most of the date. I was like, and then you have to have that little last jab with like, oh, by the way, I'm just not on that level.
By the way, I didn't like you anyhow.
I'm like, oh, really? Because you didn't hear from me either. So,
yeah.
feelings mutual, dude.
Yeah. Dating is hard.
It is.
It's interesting. Sometimes it's kind of fun. Sometimes it's interesting.
It can be fun, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything, I don't know, like I don't walk away from that experience. I've met some really nice guys, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Just because it wasn't a connection doesn't mean I didn't meet nice people.
Same here.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's hard to connect with anybody. I think the older you get, the more like set in our ways we get anyhow. And it's hard to find people who have had the same experiences as us and maybe that we can find a common ground with. But so tell me about one of the best dates you had, like, and what made it the best date?
I've had a couple of really good dates. One of the ones that like sticks out like the most, we actually ended up dating for a while. Yeah.
They did.
I mean,
they did date for a while.
We did. But like our first date was we went to like this revolving sushi place, and then so it was like really fun because it was like not entertaining, but like
it's somewhat entertaining. Like you're like, here it comes.
Action. I was like, okay, and it was really good. And then we sounds bad, but like we went back to his house, went in the hot tub, and it was just like. It was very nice, very like
everything flowed. It all seemed very good.
Yeah, we were on the same page, and it was just. And we ended up dating for a while, but it was a really good date, and I feel like I've had other really good dates too.
It's been a while since I've had a good date. I'm just
I mean, last guy I dated for a little bit. We had a couple of really good dates, and like to me, like sometimes like even simple stuff, like just like once you start dating, like a day trip or just like I don't know, like finding like an outdoor activity or something, I think is usually kind of fun too. Like where you're interactive, like whether it's like mini golf or like frisbee golf or just something kind of.
Yeah, I think that's nice. I think I think it's fun to do something interactive. I don't know, like you just have to find somebody who likes doing the same things you do, like whatever that may be, whether, you know, it's hard to like just say, oh, we're just going to go to a movie or we're just going to, because then you don't get really a chance to talk to that person, interact with them on that level of going out and playing like mini golf or. Yeah,
because you're kind of not forced, but you have to talk. You know, like I feel like at like a restaurant or a bar, like there's or even a coffee shop, there's so much like, interaction and stuff going on that sometimes I feel like I don't know, when you see someone kind of doing stuff, I don't know, it just kind of strikes up other conversations too about things.
You're doing something, you're like, hey, one time, blah blah blah, and then it can lead to somewhere else. So it does. I think those types of dates make you interact and talk more.
I feel like it helps like not get rid of it, but helps ease up that like nervousness and stuff. Because like at first you're like, oh god, because I always get nervous, but anytime before a date, like it's just like
if somebody doesn't, I don't know what kind of nervous feel you have. Like I'm never nervous until an hour before, and then I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, and then you're driving, and you're like, oh my god, and you're like sweating, you're like have the AC on blast, and you're like, oh, are they gonna know I'm nervous? Are they gonna know that I've been sweating? Because you just get nervous, and I think that's like a good thing because it shows that you're kind of excited for it, you know.
So you were just explaining to me that you were talking about like
drinking on like a date and stuff like that, and like,
drinking on a date. Let's talk about that.
Sometimes. If you're vibing, you know, drinks are going, like I'm definitely not one to judge, but I did go on a date with this guy, and also too, guys, we know when you lie about your height. Like that's, like when you tell me you're
very obvious 5'11", right off the bat.
Yeah, when you're like 5'11", 5'10", and you walk up, I know you're 5'5" because I'm 5'6". Like I know that you're not 5'11" or 6 foot, you know. And
that's only happened to me once, and in all fairness. That one time, I did end up dating that guy for quite a while.
Oh, sometimes that works.
So it was okay, but my initial reaction was like, Really?
I get it, because I personally, like, I notice, like, tall men, like, that's what I'm attracted to. I mean, I've dated some guys that are, like, my height, or,
Right.
you know, like, a little tall, like, a couple inches taller than me, which I'm not gonna, like, knock right off the bat, or even on a dating site. Like, I know guys feel compelled to, like, have to put their height, and, like, if you're the same height as me, it's not an automatic no. Like, it's like a, okay, like, but if you have other, like, your profile, your pictures, like, other things are quality, like, I'm gonna give you, like, I'm not gonna be like,
yeah, it's not an automatic no.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's not a deal breaker for me for the height thing. I think that I have an insecurity about wanting to wear heels and be taller. I wear heels a lot. I like wearing heels. I like dressing up. I like going out. I like to be a fancy gal. So,
wrong with that.
yeah, but that's my insecurity. So I don't want to like put that on somebody else, because the guy that I dated, he didn't care. He didn't care that I was taller than him in heels.
Yeah.
But that's my insecurity. And so
I'm actually on the same page with you on that.
Yeah.
Like, the one guy that I dated, he was an inch taller than me, but he was also more like on the smaller side, like petite. I don't want to say petite.
he was more a
like,
slender fellow.
Yes, more slender, and it was a very huge like insecurity for me, because even if I did wear like booties, like with just like an inch or two, like I felt like I was overtowering him, and I just felt like I was like a beast.
You were too
next
big
to him.
next to him.
Yeah, and so to me that was insecure. He didn't care about it,
Right.
but like, so usually like I tend to go for someone who's a little taller than me, just so that if I do want to wear heels or booties or boots or whatnot, like, I'm not going to be like this huge person overtowering the guy.
So our message to you gentlemen that are a little bit more on the shorter side is not, I think it's actually a positive thing for you. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with us.
Yes.
That's what we're trying to tell you.
Yeah. And when they say it's not
you,
it's us. But for real, it is.
It is. It's our insecurity.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with you. In fact, I always joke, I'm like, I feel like shorter guys are better lovers because they like put their all into it.
They do.
They do. I really do believe that. I really do think that guys that are shorter are like, they're into it. Like they're like, and there's something nice about having somebody almost the same height as you and without getting too much into it.
No, I get what you're saying.
But because you can have a lot more intimacy, I feel like.
Yeah, and you're not like this.
Yeah, having somebody with their chest smushing your face, that has happened to me, and it is awkward and uncomfortable. But I like wearing heels. I don't know. That's my problem.
I like more, like, my preference is more someone who's a little like
Stockier, bigger.
Stockier, a little bigger. So like, I actually feel like I don't want to say a woman, because I feel like that's cliche, but
you
like
feel like smaller.
Yeah, I feel smaller, and because I know, like I said, it's an insecurity. So if I feel bigger than the man, then it's gonna be it's gonna take me longer to get past that, and to then which
not that you couldn't, but you'll have that in your thought process for a while.
Yeah, and I feel like it takes away from me getting to actually know you, because I'm so more concerned with
you're more hyper focused on your own physique.
Yeah,
which again, it's not you.
Yeah,
it's us, and that's sincerity right there.
Yes.
Like, that is not us just joking. Like,
yeah.
So take that as a win, guys.
Yeah.
It's not you.
It's us. It really is. It is. It's supposed to the camera here. Okay.
It's okay. So we're gonna back it up here a little bit. A second ago, we were talking about drinking on dates. I almost said dating on drinks. I may have had some. I don't know. So drinking on dates, like. I thankfully have not had a huge issue with people drinking too much on a date. I've dated guys who don't drink too much, or I don't know. I've just never had that problem. But I have heard some stories, and luckily I'm usually really good about. Wait a second. No, I drank too much on the date. I'm like, wait a second. No, I did it. I made some mistakes.
But, you know, it's
a couple different times now, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, Rhonda, you're not being honest here.
But sometimes it happens, so like, if you're like vibing and you're just having a good time, but like, there's a difference between vibing and having a good time versus becoming kind of like forward and angry, I guess. And I guess maybe this goes back to like, I don't do well with people with anger issues.
Yeah.
But because I mean, I've gotten pretty tipsy before on dates. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, or if the guy gets a little drunk too. But
I don't do that on the first date.
I don't either. I usually control.
I've done that on the first date, and it's never good. It never is good. You always will make a bad decision. Always. Alcohol makes you make bad decisions.
But sometimes it works out. Sometimes it
works out.
Yeah, sometimes those bad decisions turn into something good.
Not good.
Yeah. But no, so I went on a date with this guy, and he told me, and this kind of goes back to like the height thing. So he told me he was like 5'11", which is fine. Like what, what? I'm not gonna judge
even if
you
it's
for
an
that.
inch or two, that's still taller than you.
Yeah, I'm like, all right. And so I saw him like walking up, and I already knew right away this guy's like 5'7", if that. And so he shows up, and it was our first date. And like I get sometimes like if you get nervous, sometimes you want to drink a little bit, just kind of calm the nerves,
calm it down.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like I'm pretty laid back. But he showed up completely hammered, which at first I was been like, all right, whatever. But it was just a really bad date, all in all. Like,
that would make me so annoyed.
I was okay with it until he started getting. So it was like right after.
So did you guys go somewhere where you were drinking more?
No, so we actually met at downtown Gilbert. We were going to go to Postino's, and then there was like a 45-minute wait, and he's like, well, I don't want to wait. I was like, okay, well, there's Joy right next door. We can go there. So we went there, and we sat up at the bar, and, like I wasn't really annoyed at first with him being drunk, but like it turned into like, it was like a Tuesday night. It was like the week of Christmas. I had work the next day. It's downtown Gilbert. Obviously, it's busy.
It's crazy busy. During Christmas.
Kids,
anytime Gilbert is busy.
Especially during the holidays. And so I think I had 1 or 2 drinks, and like I wasn't really feeling it, and like the day just kept on prolonging. I also have a hard time being like, okay, well I gotta go. Like, I'm a little too
cutting
nice.
It off.
Yeah, I'm a little too nice with that because I don't want to be rude. I don't want to like hurt someone's feelings,
I know.
And
I get like that too.
Yeah, because I'm just like I don't want to be like I want to go, but like like, are you gonna be okay if I leave? And
you're like, so are you going to Uber or are you driving?
Right, like what's happening? And he told me, he's like, oh yeah, I took an Uber. And it was funny because like, normally you can sense right away, like at least with me, I can sense like what kind of person someone is when I first meet them. And like before I even like met him up close, like just seeing him walk, I had like this weird feeling. I was like, and I'm like, it's too late for me. And I've never, ever.
It's too late to turn back.
Yeah. I've never stood a guy up like ever. Like even if it's like the worst day ever, I stick through it. I power through it.
Yeah, I do too.
But this guy, I was just like, God, I want to leave, but I can't. And so anyways, it turned into like a really long, drawn out date. But so he was showed up drunk. He told me he was drinking at the pool day. He just moved out here. And I'm like, all right, I get that. As soon as you're at the pool, like get a little carried away.
Yeah. I always get carried away at the pool.
Yeah.
Always.
I totally. Oh, wait.
Sun,
it was
water. Oh.
Wait.
He just
moved. Sorry. He just moved here, so he's unpacking.
We'll
Sorry.
I
got,
Hold on. We'll back that up. Cut that off.
Okay. So he was unpacking all day and was drinking. I'm like, all right, I get that. And so a couple drinks, and and they had 1 or 2 margaritas, and he just threw them back, and that's fine. But then afterwards, he's like, what's the next bar you want to go to? I'm all, it's 10 o'clock. I was like, I gotta work tomorrow. I was like, my job requires me to mentally be like on point.
You're like I'm in healthcare.
Yeah,
I might have to really actually use my brain tomorrow. Yeah. So
sorry, I can't get wasted with you on a weekday when I got work tomorrow.
I gotta work at 6 a.m.
Yeah, which means I gotta be up at 5:15. But he was really upset about that, and so he's like, well, I took an Uber here because I didn't know how much we were gonna drink. I'm all, it's like a Tuesday.
On you, like
I know it's going up on a Tuesday, but like, I gotta work tomorrow. I was like, I told you that. I was like, I can't get drunk the night before I have to go to work. Like, our jobs require us to actually be mentally there, know? Like,
I can't go in tanks.
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah.
And so he's just kind of negative. He's like, yeah, I'm just so busy down here. And I'm like, what are you expecting? I'm all, it's the week of Christmas.
Yeah.
Like,
people are going for holiday parties or meeting up with family in town. Busy.
Yeah. So that was my interaction of someone showing up drunk, which I was okay with until he kind of turned into like a little negative Nancy, and I was like, okay.
Because then he wanted to keep partying, and he was mad you weren't gonna party with him.
And I'm like, this is the first day I'm trying to impress you. Like, I don't want you seeing me drunk that soon, into like a possible relationship,
Yeah.
So
I would be. I mean, I guess you have to like, in some ways, know your audience is the phrase I guess I would use.
Yeah.
Like, if you're both doing it, cool, and you're both like down to like, let's get crazy and party all night. But I would be super annoyed if somebody drank too much on a first date.
Yeah.
I try to put on the governor, and I actually developed a rule because I made some mistakes.
Okay, we all do. We learn from them, right?
Yeah, we have to learn.
That's their mistakes.
This is what I said when I walked in here today. I'm learning all the time. We're all learning all the time.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And one thing I learned from dating is do not drink too much because it will alter your sense of, do I like this person or not? And then the next day you're like, what did I just do? My final word on that is, don't get trashed on your first date because you either will make a mistake or you'll, I don't know. I don't like to regret. The older I get, the less.
Oh my God,
the less that I want to make mistakes. The less I want to just be like, whatever, it's fine. Like now I'm just like, yeah, I had my whatever, it's fine days, and now I'm just like, I think one of the last real dates I had a long time ago. We started drinking, and everything sounds better when you're drunk.
Yeah.
All ideas sound better. Yeah, let's do that. And I was like, went home that night thinking, oh, that was really fun. And then I woke up the next day realizing how much I did not want to be with that person.
Ah, that's the worst.
Yeah, thinking about all the things that he said and all the things, the little comments that were made. And that really kind of developed like my no, I don't want to drink too much on the first date because your brain like plays tricks on you about what's appropriate and what's not.
Yeah.
And I think I really realized like I need to just let the first date like simmer, and then the next day like really realize how you feel about somebody.
Yeah, I think so too. Because like even because I feel like too like on the first day I feel like you're on your kind of like your quote unquote best behavior, like where you want to like impress them, you want them to like you if you like them, you know. And I feel like I don't know, I usually just stick to like 1, 2, about 2 drinks.
Yeah, I'm usually like a 2 drink maximum.
Yeah,
like,
2 drinks, and then over time, because like you said, I end up driving too, so it's like I don't want to leave there all like buzzed and then have to like worry about driving and then getting pulled over. I mean, there's just like other factors. But,
right. So that's usually how I put the governor on myself is I drive to a date so that I can leave and say that that's my out, you know.
Yeah.
I have to drive.